Hi, darlings. Welcome back. If there is one thing I appreciate about Twitter, is that it gives me a plethora of things to talk about. So today I want to talk about basically the degrading and the constant denigration of the 9 to 5, especially from those who are into entrepreneurship. And I was slightly triggered by it because I do work a 9 to 5, but I'm not easily offended. So I want to talk about this topic in particular when it comes to the constant denigration, especially in our time where there's a huge issue of unemployment. Hustle culture has become very popular. So before I go on and ramble and share my opinion, let's watch a few videos, darling, and then after I will add my perspective. And I also look forward to hearing what you have to say at the end of the video in the comment section, what more you can add to the conversation. Okay, darling? So before we start, let's watch a few videos together, and then I will add my opinion after the videos, okay? At the end.
You know, when people talk about living paycheck to paycheck and how living paycheck to paycheck is unsustainable and, you know, like it's not a good way to live and blah, blah, blah. Have you tried living invoice to invoice?
In this country, it's easier to get money to open a franchise than it is to start a real business. Why? Because franchisees don't lose money. It's a franchise. Steers gives you the formula and say, go and open there, sell that at that price. But what's entrepreneurship now if you're telling me what burger I must sell and at what price? And by the way, you control my till. And at the end of the month, I give you 20% of my money. Where's the entrepreneurship in this? How am I really creating intergenerational wealth if I'm just giving more money to Kevin Hedderwick? I'm not. Let's be honest about it.
I would probably buy an apartment in Cape Town.
Okay.
I would do Greenpoint, Sea Point, City Centre, something like that. Reason why I say that is I would rent it out for short-term rentals. I would do hotel type stays, Airbnb, that type of stuff. You can get great. You're not going to make your return on a long-term rental there. You're going to make a great return on the short-term rentals. For example, if you look at a place, I go to Cape Town quite often, and I'll spend like 1,100 Rand a night at an apartment. I will look at that exact same apartment in December and we'll go for 5,000 Rand a night. So basically you can have that thing empty for 6 months of the year, and in the last 6 months you can actually make it all just based off of that. So what I would do is I would buy, I wouldn't spend more than 3 million Rand. Maybe I wouldn't even spend more than maybe I could get it under 2 million Rand. But I'd get maybe a studio apartment and I would put on an Airbnb rental. And when I want to go to Cape Town, I have a nice place to stay. That's what I would do. And then to balance that out, I would go probably Four Ways area. And I would get a place for about 800,000 Rand. And I would rent it out for 8,500 Rand. And I would do that on a long-term basis.
Headway in your business, you'll understand that 70% of the work you did was practically marketing. What is marketing? The process of adding value to anything that gets you to the end user. So what is that? The design, the conceptualization, everything that makes the product exist, everything that gets you to speak to those people, that is the marketing overall. And parts of marketing also include subsets like advertising, PR, influencer marketing, all of these things, right? So you need those things to be able to create your product and amplify your product, get it to market. So of course, marketing is a very important thing for you to do, and you do it automatically when you start a business. That's the first process you actually do: design, marketing, engineering. That's what you're doing. So you should be investing in the marketing of your business every single year. And one of the most affordable ways to do that with one of the leading experts in our country is to join our Everything is Marketing Masterclass that I host. You're not getting the customers that you want for your business. Relook your marketing strategy and ask yourself, have I created the right target market strategy? Have I identified the right people? Or have I just kind of thought to myself, well, my product, I think it can work for everybody, therefore anyone can be my customer? Because if you're doing that, you're losing your target audience, you're losing your ideal customer. You cannot be a product or service that's for everybody. Your value is in being a product for the ideal customer. It's being a product for the person who really wants and needs and desires what you have to offer. Always, always, always work on your target market. Relook that thing, refine it, iterate it until you finally find your tribe and your people and they find you. Also, if you want more content like this, go to my YouTube channel, The Lebo Lion Show, subscribe, and I literally share tips for entrepreneurs, for creators, and people who are building personal brands.
So 9 to 5s have value, but also entrepreneurs have value in the sense that I do think entrepreneurship has its own advantages. Like you get to have a flexible schedule, you get to take control of when you work and how you work, and you get to create a business that aligns with your values and, yeah, with your lifestyle as well. So you are not bound to someone else's rules and regulations. And you just have so much potential to earn a lot of money when you are an entrepreneur. You don't have a set salary, I guess. But I am of the opinion that even with a 9 to 5, like there's this particular post that I showed you in the beginning from a YouTuber called Big Nans. I love Big Nans. I think she's very entertaining, so don't take it as a dig at her. But I think her opinion on the fact that you can't make that amount of money that she's made on YouTube from a 9 to 5 is so inaccurate, because I know people who are making way more money. It just depends on the industry that you are working in, or who you know, or which connections you have. There are people who are in 9 to 5s and are making a lot of money. Personally, I'm going to be biased. I prefer 9 to 5s. I prefer 9 to 5s because even though I am someone who comes from a family of entrepreneurs, I have a lot of entrepreneurs. My mom's an entrepreneur. My dad is an entrepreneur. But I don't have the desire, unfortunately. I think my brother is the only one who desires it, but I don't have the passion. I don't have the drive. Don't have a desire. I don't have a desire for the unpredictability that comes with basically being an entrepreneur. I have entrepreneurs in my family, and I can see that it's not as, your salary is obviously not predictable. You don't have a stable income as someone who works a 9 to 5. And if I'm being honest, I don't crave it. I feel like 9 to 5s work for people who are very book smart. I'm very book smart. I like structure. I like having a leader. I like following a set formula on how to do things. And when it comes to being an entrepreneur, you don't need necessarily a particular formula. But I hate when entrepreneurship is posed as this easy thing where it's just like, no, just start a business, become an entrepreneur, when there's so many other things people don't talk about. We don't talk about how being an entrepreneur requires, in the beginning, in the building stage, it requires so much time. I'm from a family where I remember people coming to my dad or my mom for the services late at night. You have to provide that service late at night because you work, basically you don't have time to relax unless you want to lose money. Like, an entrepreneurship requires you to sacrifice so much time. It requires obviously capital investment, and entrepreneurship is most likely to fail. there's just too many things that I personally don't desire to do. Like, if you looked at some of the things that were mentioned in the videos, you have to get a marketing team, you have to get a marketing team, you have to know your target audience, you have to know, there's so much that goes in there that personally I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't desire it. And there's almost an idea as if 9 to 5s are less than. I think both are equally important. Entrepreneurship creates a lot of innovation. There's a lot of innovation, and it creates healthy competition because older businesses get to see the new, younger, fresh competition, and they learn to also improve their services to compete with the new competitors. And I can also see the benefits of a 9 to 5, especially if you are a specialist. Honestly, no society will function without specialists, without doctors, without lawyers, without social workers, without firefighters, without security guards, without scientists, without people who specialize in a particular field, because specialization is so important because you get to be an expert, you get to know the intricate details. A general doctor cannot do what a neurosurgeon does. A neurosurgeon has studied the brain. They've studied techniques to cut into the brain without harming healthy tissue. They know what they are doing. So specialization is important as much as entrepreneurship. And I worry if everyone is to become an entrepreneur, where are you going to get your workforce? Because even entrepreneurs require a workforce. They need people to be employees. In a society, if everyone was an entrepreneur, what was going to happen? Society is not going to function without balance. We need balance of entrepreneurs, but also we need balance of 9 to 5 workers who work in structured environments. Societies work because we have structured organizations that order the world, that police the world, that create policy, medicine. There's so many things that if we were all just hustling to become 9 to 5, no, not 9 to 5s, man. If we were all hustling to become entrepreneurs, I don't desire it. And I understand why it's so there's an allure to wanting to become an entrepreneur, because we do have unemployment. We do. And for some people, you are pushed into becoming an entrepreneur. I know there is a possibility that I might have to become an entrepreneur at some point, but it's not something I desire. And I'm book smart. I'm so aware of myself that I'm book smart. I'm not streetwise. I don't think I would do well in an unpredictable environment. I love structure. I love rules. I love having supervision. I love having a manager to report to. And whatever I get with my money from my salary, I can just put it into investments. I would rather invest in an already existing business that is already successful than to start my own business. I prefer to just do that. And what I have to say about the 9 to 5 versus entrepreneur discussion is that there is value in both. There is value in 9 to 5 workers. Imagine a world without nurses, doctors, police officers, firemen, and we were all just entrepreneurs. Girl, and we were all just, I don't know, digital nomads. I don't think that would, I wouldn't want to live in that world. But yeah, let me know if you're an entrepreneur or you work a 9 to 5, or even if you don't work, let me know what you think about the 9 to 5 versus entrepreneur pipeline and all that. And I'm so sorry, darlings, about today's lighting. I can't control the weather. I wish I could. Maybe I should get a ring light. Let me know if you enjoyed today's video, and bye bye, darlings.